Hi, hello everyone. It's Fat Mascara, a podcast about beauty culture with me, Jen Sullivan, and one Miss Jessica Matlin, who is actually not here today. We're doing a special interview. She's definitely listening though, because this is a good one. If you like what you hear when you're listening to Fat Mascara, I have to keep reminding you, please head over to Apple. Give us a review. If you don't like what you hear, you can also give us a review. Make it constructive so we can make it better. I'm trying to, when I remember lately, read a review at the beginning of the show. So I'm going to do that now. This one is from Apple. And okay, the title is Like Listening to a Beauty Mag. Ooh, I like that. 5 stars. I've been listening to this podcast on and off over 5 years. Whoa, nice. Thank you. And never left a review until now. My recent favorite has been Jen's Science Corner. Me too. And hearing tidbits from Jess about moda operandi. Me too. And I would personally love to see more interviews from people involved behind the scenes, like cosmetic chemists, packaging designers, product testers, etc. And that was from Never a Reviewer. LOL. Love it. Anyway, head over to Apple, leave us a review, or scroll down in Spotify and you can leave a review on each episode or just a comment about the episode. So today is Friday. Wednesdays we do the news. Fridays we do an interview. We have such a good one. You know what? This is kind of somebody behind the scenes, sort of. We have Christina Jones here. I have been wanting to do an interview with a wig expert for a while now because I feel like it's part of the beauty industry that I am woefully undereducated in. So our guest, Christina Jones, is the perfect person to give you an intro to the latest in wig technology and the wig basics. So this is for the wig curious like me, anyone who has hair loss or is thinking of maybe trying wigs, whether for hair loss or just to change up your hairstyle. They are amazing these days and nowhere near as expensive as they used to be. So Christina is a licensed cosmetologist and specialist in color and color correction. She's based in Dallas, Texas. She actually recently joined the Wig Company as their education and product development manager, and she has more than 20 years of experience with wigs, hairpieces, and toppers. Side note, do you know about toppers? I'm now obsessed with this idea of a topper, an excellent solution for thinning hair, in my opinion. So you'll learn all about that, so much more in this interview, plus Christina's just like fun to hang out with. So let's get into it. Christina, welcome to Fat Mascara. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Good. So it's a virtual studio, which means I'm not with you physically, but where are you based?
So I'm in Dallas, Texas, and it's super hot here, but love it. I have lived here all my life.
I feel like this is so appropriate for your job because you're a hair girl, and that is a hair city, isn't it?
Yes.
I just watched the Cowboys documentary, and I was like, these women know how to do hair better than hairstylists. I was so impressed.
I would have to say yes. I think it's part of their training and requirement is the hair.
I was in awe. But so how did you come to working in hair? Has this always been what you did?
So I have a funny story. I'm going to try not to make it too long, but I've always loved doing hair ever since I was little. And in my bio, I talk about how I've been doing hair since I was 2 years old. Because you know how all of us used to cut our Barbie doll's hair? So we used to cut ours. I have a sister. So me and my sister, we would play with our Barbies and cut their hair. Well, so I started cutting my Barbie's hair and my sister and my mom were like, wait, that actually looks really good. So I always joke and say that I've been working on synthetic hair since I was 2 years old because I've been cutting Barbie hair. So my mom's sister, my aunt, she never went to hair school. She wasn't a licensed cosmetologist, but she loved hair. And so every time I would spend the summers with her, she would teach me how to braid and teach me how to do updos. And so at a very early age, I started to love just the art of transforming yourself through your hair. I felt like it was just so cool. So straight out of high school, I was like, I'm going to go get my license. I'm going to work in a salon. I kind of already knew what I was going to do. So I went to hair school. I got my license. And in hair school, I ended up having this really, really good color instructor. So I knew I wanted to do hair color because I knew it was a little bit more challenging. And I didn't realize there was so much chemistry behind hair color, canceling out tones and doing the formulas. And so the nerd in me was so intrigued by that. So I knew I wanted to specialize in hair color. So I chose a salon in Dallas that was a specialty salon. So you either had to choose, you're going to do hair color or you're going to do cutting, but you had to choose a lane and you would stick to that. So I chose hair color. And so doing hair color, I realized that there was this huge area where I don't know if a lot of people know about it or think about it, but it's called corrective color. So it would be all the girls that you ruin your hair with that box color and you're crying. You feel like your world is ending.
Or some other colorist ruined your hair.
That too. Or like a family member, or you were just like your friends bleached your hair and it's fried and it's green and blue and all these crazy colors. So that's a whole thing. And it's actually really expensive to like book a color correction consultation appointment. So I started feeling like I was helping somebody, and that sparked something in me, because I do feel like obviously you go into like hair and beauty and there's this vanity side of it or this vain side of it, but I started feeling like I was helping somebody like in a way that I didn't think I could. So that kind of opened up something in me. So I worked at that salon. I did like an internship. I finished it. I was on the floor. I was working with clients. And then at the time they ended up moving locations and the schedule was just not going to work with my life. So I ended up having to leave that salon, and I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'll find another salon. There's so many in Dallas, obviously. But in the meantime, I went ahead and went online, and I thought to myself, maybe I'll just find like a temporary job or something I can do in the meantime until I find a salon. So I ended up going online, and at the time, I didn't know that I was creating a resume online, but I didn't know I was actually publishing it. So I created a resume, and then all of a sudden I started getting all these phone calls, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. And they were like, oh, we saw your resume online. And I'm like, wait, did I publish it? Not
with like
knowing?
some job networking site that you didn't realize. Oh gosh.
So
I hope it was a good resume.
It was, yeah, I guess.
Clearly.
Like somebody saw something on there that they liked. So I ended up getting a call from a temp agency, and I was like, you know what, that's kind of perfect because it's just temporary.
Yeah.
I'll have this job, and like from there, I'll find a salon in the meantime. So I ended up applying for the temporary position, and it ended up being a wig company that's based out of Dallas. And I was like, oh, I guess that's why they wanted me, because I'm a licensed cosmetologist. But it was like for a call center, like customer service. So I was like, okay.
No, this is good. The psychological component. You're used to dealing with people that need corrective.
Yes.
I'm here with you at the call center.
Yes. Okay. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this for a little bit. Anyway, of course, I started talking to these women that wear wigs that I didn't even know at the time. I'm like, wait, people shop for wigs online, like without seeing them, without trying them on. And it totally made sense, because it's kind of like this taboo thing that maybe you don't want anybody to know you're doing it or getting it. And so online, there's kind of like this secrecy behind it. And I remember at the time, the company didn't use the word wig like in their packaging. So like when you got it at home, it didn't, like you didn't know what it was. And I feel like times have changed, but there are still women that don't want anybody to know that they're wearing wigs. So, okay, fast forward, I fell in love with the industry. So initially I came on board. It's an interesting story. So I started off in Dallas at that company, and I was there for a long time. We got a lot of education. I learned so much there, kind of changed really
Yeah, because you don't really learn about wigs in cosmetology school, right?
Okay, so that's another thing. So it's a very small chapter. There's a chapter, but it's literally like a page in the book. I don't know if it's changed. Hopefully it has a little bit, but it's not really something you touch on, and it's so foreign for hairstylists. And that's something else that I'm sure we can touch on later in the interview, but my dream would be that every hairstylist feels like a wig expert, because no matter what stage you are, maybe you do color, maybe you do cuts, there's going to be somebody that feels so comfortable going to you, and at some point in their life, they're going to need clip and bangs, they're going to need a ponytail, they're going to need a wig, they're going to have something maybe a little bit more traumatic happen, and they need a full wig, and they want to go to you for that. But then a lot of times hairdressers have to be like, oh, well, here's a website, here's a wig store, and then the wig stores don't have that hairstylist component. So it's like every hairstylist needs to be a wig expert.
Yeah. That's so true. So you became, this education job at the Wig Company, how did you end up there?
Okay, so I've worked through the parent company of the Wig Company for my previous job. So I already knew them through there, and I've already worked with them. We have a great relationship. And so when I left that company, they just were like, we need you here. You don't have to move to Florida. The office was in Florida at the time. They're like, you don't have to move here. You'll be remote. This is pre-COVID. So I've been remote since before COVID, and now it seems like everybody's remote. But at the time they hired me, they just knew they they didn't have a position for me, but they were like, we know you can do something here. So they kind of challenged me, and they were like, I remember my boss at the time, she was awesome. She was like, you write up your job description and let me see what I think. And so I kind of wrote it up as they were already doing like a certified on the road class for like professionals and stylists, mostly wig shops. And I kind of came in with like, well, maybe we can tweak the curriculum and maybe we can pitch it to more hairstylists. Maybe we can add some more like hair, technical hair education, but with wig content, features, like construction, and like merge the two. So then that was my job at the beginning, was to kind of rework the curriculum, rework the education manual to kind of update it, make it feel fresh, but then also cater to like hairdressers. So that's what I started doing. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to like visit factories and work with the design team and come up with different ideas for hair pieces and wigs. And the company that owns the Wig Company, I would say that they're the most advanced with technology, and they're always coming up with something new. Like they were the first ones to come out with a ready-to-wear lace front wig. And like the first ones that came out with the wraparound pony. It's funny because I've heard the story of like that meeting where that was born, but they just never patented it. And so now everybody has a wraparound pony, but
Wait, describe a wraparound pony for those of us who can't picture it.
Okay, so a wraparound pony is you put your hair in a pony, and like we all used to know those like clip-on ponies that look really fake, right? Like a banana clip. So those were like out the window. So a wraparound pony has almost like a U-shaped base, and it has like a 3-prong comb. And so you slide the comb into your rubber band or your hair tie, and then it has a Velcro, so it Velcros to each other. And then there's like this extra little piece that you just wrap it around, and then you bobby pin it in. So it looks so natural. It looks like your hair. There's no clip. There's no bulkiness. It was a really, really cool concept.
You also talked about lace front, which we're going to get into all of that. But I have to ask, you mentioned at the old company where you worked, or like even like 10 years ago, there was such a stigma, I think, about wearing a wig. Like people weren't as vocal about it. Do you think that's changing, like from talking to the customers and stylists you work with?
I feel like that is changing. And I feel like it could be a little bit of celebrities being more open about wearing wigs and they're not embarrassed about it. I feel like, and that's probably the number one thing. I spent like a year and a half now that I'm here at the Wig Company specifically working with this team, is I've spent like a year and a half just interviewing wig wearers, like our followers, influencers that create content for us and that showcase like their life as wig wearers. And I feel like their dream would be for wigs to not be so taboo. Like their goal is to make wigs just normal. It's an accessory. Like we all get our nails done, right? Or we
have fake nails.
Yeah, fake nails, lashes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then that's my goal too, and my dream is for it to just be another accessory. Like maybe you're wearing it, you have your own hair and it's great and you're just choosing to wear it. Or maybe you're going through something where you don't have a choice. But either way, it's okay. And it's not something to be ashamed of or embarrassed to talk about.
So now that you've interviewed a lot of your customers and clients, like who are they? Can we even make like a description that fits all of them, or is it really diverse? Like who are wig wearers in the US today?
I feel like it's very diverse. And it's funny too, because I feel like until you really know wigs, you don't realize how many people are just walking around you wearing wigs. And I know that because obviously I know, but sometimes even I'm like, wait, is that a wig? Or is like extensions or something's in there?
Christina, when you see like the VMAs or the Emmys, what percentage of people walking a red carpet do you think have a wig on?
Red carpet, I would probably say super confidently 90%, maybe higher.
To myself, and then people are always like, she dyed her hair. I'm like, that's not her. Nobody goes pink and then the next day they're back to like brunette. It's just really good wigs, right?
It's really good wigs. It's really good hair pieces. There are so many amazing hairstylists out there that I will say are kind of changing the game and like making hairstylists step it up. Because I almost feel like if you don't work with hair pieces and extensions, you're kind of going to stay behind. Like, I feel like the hairdressers are moving at a pace where you have to keep up. And it's a lot of these like influencer hairstylists that are really kind of experimenting with things. And I don't know, I feel like they're changing they're leveling it up for sure.
And these are people that are making content, but maybe not getting booked all the time for like editorial work or working in a salon, but they are really educated as to how, yeah, I know what you mean. So I am a bit of a wig novice, I have to admit. And I know that there's listeners that are probably wig curious as well.
Yes.
Just so we have like a common vocab going into this, can we talk about the parts of wig? Let's just like stick to sort of the full wigs for now, because I think that that's probably the simplest way to do it. But like, what is it? It's like what do you guys call the base of it? What are the fibers? Tell me what a wig is made of.
Okay, yeah, I'll break it down because there are different parts of a wig. So a wig obviously has a wig cap. So when you think about a wig, like think about it without any of the hair. So think about an outline of your hairline. So there's a top section, there's the ear tabs, and then there's the sides and back. And then there's like a little bit of a nape area that you can think about. Okay, so let's start from the top. So in the front hairline, you'll either have a lace front, or if there's no lace, it's like this velvet material so that it's soft on the forehead. Okay, so after that, then the top area, you'll either have what's called monofilament, which is actually the material. It's not necessarily the wig part. It's called monofilament, and it's this sheer material that's almost like lace, but imagine it's like super, super sheer, very fine, like the netting on it. Like you'd probably have to look at it like with a magnifying glass to see like all the openings. So it just looks like a sheer, think of like a sheer silk, a sheer lace material. So it could either be like that on all of the top, it could be like that on just where the part is, or it could just not have any of that and just be kind of like this closed netted material where there's nothing sheer there. Okay, so that's the top. The ear tabs, they always bend like on a full wig. So they bend so that once you put it on, you can make sure that it's framing your face and kind of like conforming to your face shape, so it's good for it to bend. But the ear tabs are either velvet or they're open wefted, so a weft, we'll talk about that since we're going now into the sides and back. So a weft, think of it like you're sewing like a hem on like fabric, right? Like I said, I've gone to the factories and it's really cool to kind of see how it's made. So imagine like a bunch of hair is on a table. They fold it, and that's called the return, because you need kind of like a little edge or like a seam that's not like just raw hair. So they fold the top a little bit, and then they usually use an adhesive to kind of keep it together, but then they run it through the sewing machine. So it's like hair that's lined up on a table, just kind of going through a sewing machine, like if you were hemming pants.
Oh, so this is like if I buy an extension in a box, like a bag of hair, there's a weft at the top of it.
Yes, and that's what the weft, like where it's sewn at the top, that's the weft. So when you go to the sides and back of a wig, you'll see like a lot of rows of wefts. And then there's like bands that go up and down. And then sometimes a wig is fully hand-tied. So if it's fully hand-tied, the sides and back are like a softer material, so you don't see wefts. And I'll talk a little bit about hand-tied because it's like a little bit more specific. And then so when you get to the neckline, there's adjustable straps. So those straps kind of line up along the back of the head. So they're either Velcro or it's like a hook and like a little loop. So you pull it and you can loosen it or tighten it, usually up to 1/2 inch. So we can talk about measuring and all of that.
I feel like you just described the world's most expensive wig, because I feel like anytime I've ever tried on a wig, it looked like a swimming cap with no part. Like if you parted it, you would look like a Barbie head. It would look like, you know?
Okay, so they're like, I feel like wigs.
That's like a Halloween wig, isn't it?
Exactly. I was going to say, there are so many
sorry.
levels of a wig, but a traditional good quality wig, it doesn't necessarily mean it's really expensive, but it's just made well.
You want all those adjustable parts. You want the different ways the hair is attached to the cap so it looks natural and like falls naturally.
Exactly, yes. And so what's crazy, so I did say hand-tied. I always say that all wigs are handmade, because even if you're sewing it, like there's a term called machine made, and then there's handmade or hand-tied. And so sometimes, I don't know if people think like a machine just pops them out, like a little factory assembly line.
Christina,
just, like,
I don't think we
out.
ever think about it. I feel like a lot of things that are made in the modern universe, we're just like, it arrives at our door in a box.
Exactly.
And you don't think about the artists and the makers that go into it.
Yes. So even if you see something that has nothing hand-tied, it doesn't have a lace front, doesn't have a monofilament top, doesn't have hand-tied sides and back, there was a person that physically sewed it together, ran it through the machine. So to me, that's still handmade. So like, let's say you make a pair of pants. Okay, did you use a sewing machine or you just like hand stitched it? That's really the only difference. There's still a person making it. So the same thing with wigs. So either somebody sat at a machine and they sewed it so it's a little bit quicker, or they like individually pulled, like put each hair into the cap, which does happen. So with monofilament and with hand tied, sometimes they gather like 2 or 3 strands of hair and then they knot it into the cap. And I've actually seen them doing this and it's so impressive.
Wait, literally 2 or 3 at a time?
Yes. And they're moving so quick. Like it's literally an art. When I went to the factory, I was told that a lot of it is women that do it, but that they're trained since they're little to like learn this craft.
Well, even lace makers,
art.
I just watched how lace itself was made and I was like, what? I had no idea.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, so this is the hand tying aspect that you're talking about, is these 2 or 3 individual hairs put in like individually, right?
Yes. And think about it too. So if you have like a really sheer material and you get too many hairs and the knot is thick, it's almost going to look like hair plugs. And so you want to avoid that at all costs. So the less hair you grab, the less hair that's in the knot, it's going to look the most natural. But then obviously that takes way more time. So sometimes when you see like a big price difference, like let's say you have 2 synthetic wigs and one is like fully wefted, nothing's hand tied, and then one has like all the bells and whistles. Like there could be like a $200, $300 difference and they're both synthetic. And it doesn't necessarily mean that this one with all the bells and whistles, it's $300 more, it's going to last longer. Not necessarily. It's still synthetic hair. Like you could still wear.
Would you say it might look more natural?
It's going to look a lot more natural. And a lot of times it's going to feel a little more comfortable because you have less of those. Like think about stitching and raw hems and like.
There's less of that against your head.
Yes. So it's like a softer material. It's almost like all one material, less seams. So it's just more comfortable.
And we're talking all of these about synthetic hair. Back in the day, I know you couldn't even take heat to synthetic hair. It was basically just plastic. What is the level of synthetic hair now?
So when I started working with wigs, it was either synthetic or human hair. And with synthetic, you couldn't even open the oven door, like baking, without it melting your bangs. We'd have so many women crying, like, my wig, I don't know what happened.
Or if you put hairspray, like the color would come off or whatever.
Yes. And it's kind of like doll hair and it looked really fake. So I feel like it's at least been like maybe 10, 15 years where like heat-friendly synthetic fiber started coming into the industry. And at first, so they use like these specific fibers like to make heat-friendly fiber and it has a coating. So when it first initially came out, all the colors were really reddish. And it's like, who wants blonde hair that has so much red in it? So there was like, okay, it's cool, I can style it, I can curl it, but it's like really warm colors. So it's kind of like as time has gone on, it's just gotten better and better. So it used to be that it was really shiny and it was really reddish. And now it's like more of a matte fiber. Now there's like even cool toned collections where there's like cool blondes and cool brunettes. And it's just so different now. And I feel like it's going to just keep getting better and better. And we could probably sit here and talk all day about how color has advanced because it used to be like a wig that was blonde looked like a blonde
like Barbie,
wig, right?
Like yellow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you can find colors with like roots and ombre and highlights and lowlights. It literally looks better than people walking out of a salon.
So it wasn't just the advancement of being able to style it yourself at home with heat if you wanted to. It's the colors became much more natural looking as well.
Yes. Also cap materials. So everything, I feel like wigs
Let's do the lace front discussion. There's like...
Yes.
People get all up in arms about lace front and how expensive it is. And this kind of wig is cheap if it doesn't have lace front. Why are people like so obsessed with lace front?
I feel like that definitely started with celebrities, right? Because it used to be that only celebrities, movie sets, actors could get a lace front wig. It was so astronomically expensive that a regular wig wearer, there's no way that they could have a lace front wig. This wasn't even that long ago. I feel like this was maybe like not even 20 years ago. It was like that. And so the Raquel Welch wig brand, I feel like they may not specifically say they were the first ones to launch like a ready-to-wear wig with a lace front, but I feel like they were. And I feel confidently saying like they were the first that launched like this ready-to-wear lace front. And what does that mean? So Usually when you think of a lace front wig, you need a hairstylist that's going to do this installation process. They're going to cut back the lace. You're going to have to do glue and adhesive and really set it.
And this is all to make your hairline look like a natural hairline.
Right. Look at your hair and look at my hair. So if we had a wig and we had our hairstyles that we have right now, it would look so obviously wiggy if we had like this blood
Right. It's like
line.
a line of demarcation. Hair, no hair.
Yeah, and it's sad because it used to be that if you wore wigs, they had to have bangs because the hairline was so artificial looking. So if you wore a wig, it doesn't matter if your face shape doesn't look good with bangs. You had bangs, okay? So everybody had bangs.
Oh, yeah. Dolly's like wigs in the 80s. She always had bangs.
Everyone. You had to have bangs. It's kind of like you didn't have a choice. So it's kind of nice now. And I always tell customers that sometimes they're not sure, like, do I want lace? Do I not want lace? So what lace front does is it gives you the look of your own hairline at the front. So if you don't wear bangs, or maybe you do like a side bang and you can see some of the front hairline, it's good to have a lace front. So what I love about like the Wig Company wigs is that the lace fronts are all ready to wear. So that means it's already cut back. So that's something you don't have to worry about. And then the way that they're put into the wigs, it's not like it's all the way around the hairline. It's just where you see it. So the way that the cap is made is it's going to stay in place and stay flat and positioned exactly where it needs to be on its own.
Oh, so just your forehead has lace front, and I don't need to do a glue in, and I don't need to have the special makeup and gum and scissors to like get it to look natural when I put it on.
Exactly. And there are still some women that'll put like a little bit of, there's this like really cool spray adhesive that's called Got To Be glue, but it's like almost looks like a hairspray. But a lot of women that install their lace fronts, they just spray a little bit of that on their hairline, and it kind of sticks to your hair and your scalp. So it's kind of
It wasn't designed for wigs though, right? It's just like a tacky.
No, yes, it's like this really, really strong hairspray, but it actually works really well. So if you're listening to this and you want to try, maybe like the lace feels like it's not, you want a little something, and then you can just take it off.
Is that like insurance policy? Like if you're moving a lot and that kind of thing?
It could be. I feel like when somebody's really active, they can either, like, let's say you have your own hair underneath, so you can either sew some like extension clips into the inside of the cap and like clip it onto your hair, so that keeps it in place. But there's also, if you don't have any hair or you have really fine hair and you don't want to clip anything to it, there's this like velvet band called the hair grip, but it's like, you know how velvet has like a smooth side and a rough side?
Yeah.
So the way that you put it on your head, it's this flat headband. So it's really comfortable too if you have a sensitive scalp. But the rough side of the velvet kind of goes against the wig cap, and it keeps it on really well. Like we have an influencer that she went on a roller coaster and like had her wig on with her hair grip, and it did not budge. So you don't have to do tapes and adhesives, especially if you're like a little bit more unsure of like the chemicals that are in it and how you're going to react to it, or you have allergies to certain chemicals or formulas, or you just don't want to go that route. That hair grip is like game changer.
I imagine, do a lot of your customers, I feel like some of the wig community that's wearing wigs are doing so for medical reasons, either alopecia or maybe they're on a medicine or chemo that causes their hair to fall out. Their skin's more sensitive anyway, right?
Yes, a lot of times, especially with chemo. With alopecia, not necessarily, but it just depends on the person. But with chemo, the treatments do make your skin very, very sensitive.
When I was prepping for this interview, I was researching wigs and things, and I saw this study. I was like fascinated that people with alopecia who wear a wig, they have a significant self-esteem boost, which I never really thought about. Have you noticed that with people that you've talked to and started to get them used to wearing wigs, that it changes their attitude?
It's so crazy. And I feel like, how I talked about like that person that's sitting in your chair and they feel like, until you experience not having hair or having your hair ruined or like a really bad haircut, which I think we've all been there, where it's like really bad bangs and you just feel like your life is over. But when you see yourself without hair, I think I don't know if it's a mental thing, but a lot of women that I've spoken with, they've told me, oh, it's not going to bother me. Like that's the least of my worries. And then once they go through it, especially something like chemo, the amount of women that say that they're more concerned about their hair than their life and their treatments, that to me explains like the power that our hair has on us, whether we know it or not, whether we, style our hair all the time or just put it in a bun, but it's always there. So then that one day that it's not, is really, really sad to see the hopelessness in people and how it changes them. But then on the flip side, putting a wig on somebody, like that first time, I'm getting chills, but like that first time that they put a wig on, I cannot even explain how amazing it feels to like see that transformation and see that light and their eyes come back. There's like this huge change from, somebody coming and sitting in my chair that feels like they're not going to like wigs. They hate wigs. They hate that they're in this situation. They're not going to like anything. And then you start putting them on and you start styling them, and the way that they leave versus how they came in, it's incredible. Like I said, there's not a lot of jobs out there where you feel like you're really making a difference, but that really, really makes you feel like you're making a difference.
Well, that moment must be so exciting for you as someone helping them.
It is. And honestly, like I know that when they're coming in and they might not be very nice, they might kind of be a little like, I'm not going to like that. No, I'm not. And, I'll be like, oh, what about this one? No, I hate that.
So intimate. Yeah.
I know in my head they're going to leave so happy. So for me, I'm kind of like getting excited because they're so upset. And, like I said, they might be a little snappy at you, might be a little rude, but you always have to tell yourself like they're going through things that you can't even. I try to be empathetic, but I'm not going to know that because I haven't been in their shoes. But I just know in my head that they're going to leave so happy to where I'm like, it's okay, you can be mean to me, but when you leave, I'm going to be your favorite person and we're going to have such a good time. So it's really fun.
Yeah. So you work with patients who have dealt with medical issues and they're wearing the Wig Company wigs as well. Because I feel like a lot of people worry about the cost of it. When I was looking on your website, I was like, oh, there's a whole range. Like in my head, I don't know why. I probably saw some article about Beyonce's wig once. And I was like, yep, a custom lace front wig is like $40,000. But that's not the truth anymore, right?
The price ranges can be really drastic, but what I love about the Wig Company is that they do go pretty low in price range. I've worked before, like I said, with so many wig companies where I feel like a lot of the wigs, you're going to spend a couple $100s, but not everybody has that budget. And so they have to go to Amazon and they have to get these like Halloween costume wigs and they have to make it work because they can't spend more than $100. So what I love about the Wig Company, you can even get a lace front wig or something with a monofilament part for under $100, sometimes even under $50. Like to me, that's really admirable. And I really like that about this particular company is that you don't have to sacrifice like it looking natural or it being good quality for what your budget is. Now there are wigs that go into like, we have one that's like over $3,000. I think that's probably the highest range that we go. Like you said, custom wigs could be much more than that depending on the length and the type of hair that's used and, all of that factors into it. But there's a really big range. And so I like that because I feel like there's something for everyone. It doesn't matter what kind of cap construction you want, what kind of hairstyle you want, or what kind of budget you're in. Like you can find something that's going to make you feel really good.
Can we talk about what's going on under the wig? Because I also know a lot of people that, 50% of people will experience some sort of hair loss in life, whether they're sick or not, right? So there's people that might have that for a while and want to temporarily wear a wig, but not sure like, well, what do I have to like cut my hair? Am I wearing like a swim cap underneath? If you still have hair and you're wearing a wig, talk to me about install. Also, why is it called install?
I feel like it's called installation or install because there's like several steps, right? And
you might need it's not tools. Just like put it on like a hat.
You might need some tools. It's like you're installing like, I don't know, the kitchen sink or something.
Yeah, it makes
there's
it feel...
tools. There's tools and supplies and instructions, right?
Okay, so we're doing an install. Yeah, what's happening underneath?
I feel like for like typically in the wig industry, if you're doing like a wig installation, there is going to be some type of glue and adhesive factor to it. And there's going to be some kind of component that makes it a little bit more semi-permanent where you're going to wear it for several days. So with wigs that are like, let's say, for example, if you get a wig on the Wig Company, a lot of the wigs are just, we call it ready to wear because you can take it out of the box and literally either put a wig cap on. Some wigs come with a free wig cap, or you could just pin your hair up and then just pop the wig on and go.
You could do it even without wearing a wig cap?
You can, definitely.
If it's like a full style, I imagine.
Yes. So I always tell people the wig cap is optional. So it just depends on your preference. Like if you have longer hair, I feel like the wig cap really helps keep your hair inside of the cap so it's not starting to slip through like throughout the day, especially if you're active. Maybe you're like some of your hair starts to kind of poke out. And so I like to split my hair in half and like crisscross it and just bobby pin it and then put a wig cap on. And that's with me having longer, fuller hair. If you have a really short haircut and it's not going to slip through, you can just pop it on. You don't have to do anything to your hair. You can just leave it as is. I feel like if somebody has really long, thick hair and they're going to wear wigs all the time, every day, it's probably up to them if they want to keep their own hair shorter so they don't have to go through the trouble of like constantly pinning it up and tucking it in. But you don't have to do that.
Yeah. I'm picturing like when you wrap your hair and put on a silk bonnet to go to sleep. Is that what you mean, to just get it tight to your head before you put it on? That could be enough with some styles.
Yes. So another thing too, just like since we're talking about it, if you are going to pin it, it's always good to put like the bulk of it on the back or like in the crown area versus putting it up here. Because what you're going to do is you're going to put it on the top and it's going to lift the wig up, and that lift makes it look like a wig. So your goal is to get this as flat as possible and kind of get your hair to be as flat as possible. I'll even say to some customers that if you have a lot of really thick hair, like if it's a little damp and you braid it and then you wrap it in the back, it kind of keeps it a little bit tighter. Also in the summer, if your hair is a little damp, it kind of gets like this little cool breeze. So it's just like a little hack, but definitely keep the bulk at the back or even the crown area. Sometimes wigs are a little looser in the crown area, so you can put a lot of the bulk there and it kind of fills that in right there where you want a little bit of volume, not on the top.
I'm thinking of, I played water polo in college, and a newbie in the pool, you would always know because they would pile their hair on top of their head and put on their swim cap, and they would just look like a cone head or something. It's like nobody does that. Put it in the back of the head. Excellent tip for first timers. So because these are quote unquote ready to wear, like you said, you can just slip them on. Then you're not going to have to, because I think a lot of people go on TikTok and they see people with wigs or someone who might be bald that wears a wig and they're putting makeup on the edges so it blends perfectly. But if it's ready to wear, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. Like you can if you want to. Like let's say you put on a lace front wig and you're going to do your makeup, or you already have makeup on and you just take a little bit of powder, concealer, and just tap a little bit onto the lace front. I even feel like it looks natural when there's a monofilament part to put a little bit of concealer like on the part to make it look like a skin color in between the part. That kind of gives it like this little pop of like a natural
And the monofilament,
look.
just to remind people, that's the top of the head where it'll be the special part that's see-through, so it looks like a part if you center parted your hair, right?
Yes. So to touch on that a little bit, when it's monofilament, it looks like the hair is growing out of your scalp. And when it's not monofilament, it's usually either called traditional or capless. And so what they do is they have to kind of tease the hair at the root to cover the base, so that you don't see the netting and the material.
Is this why there's so many like Golden Girls wigs? Do you know what I'm saying, with like the little volume, like a little fountain on top?
Yes. So it could be that a lot of women want that volume.
No, I get it. But like disproportionately, when you look for wigs online, I was like, a lot of these are really high volume on the top of the head. But that's because you can hide the part that doesn't look like skin in a part, I guess.
Exactly. So it just kind of looks like the hair just kind of comes together. Like it doesn't necessarily look bad, but it doesn't look like a part. And I will say that there are some hairstyles, like maybe they're short and curly, like for example, like a Golden Girls like hairstyle.
I didn't mean to make it. I was just giving everybody, I was like, I feel like that's a reference we all know. So yes. I'm going to use that. Okay.
Well, so I feel like if you're going for that look, you probably wouldn't want monofilament where it's going to be really flat and you're going to have a hard time teasing it and like trying to lift it.
Because it's laying down almost like a center part. Why would you then do the work to put curlers in or whatever?
So that's another thing too. I feel like the brands that we carry at the Wig Company, there are designers behind them that think about all of that. So it's not necessarily like, let's throw a lace front on it to just make it more expensive. It's not like that at all. It's, let's put a lace front on this hairstyle because you're going to see the hairline. Hey, this hairstyle has really pretty bangs. It doesn't need a lace front. Let's not put one on.
And then you save the cost of whatever that would have cost.
Exactly. Yes.
The Wig Company sells all different brands, but do they make their own brand of wigs as well, like a private label brand?
Well, so like the parent company has their own labels and brands, and like so there's exclusive brands and then there's premium brands. So premium brands are like a Raquel Welch, a Gabor Wig, Tony Bratton. There's like these.
Yeah, why does Raquel have such a handle on the wig market? Her name
Oh
has
my
been
goodness, Raquel
synonymous with
Welch.
wigs forever, right?
Yes, I've actually had the honor of meeting her before, and she's like iconic. I always reference her anytime somebody wants to take a photo with me, and I'm like, this lighting, Raquel would not do this. I'm not going to do it. She was so just an icon, a fashion icon. And what's really cool about Raquel is that anytime you saw her in a movie, on the red carpet, pretty much any appearance, she was wearing her wigs. I feel like a lot of celebrities put their name on something, but they don't personally wear it. And she did.
And made it less stigmatized, right?
Yes, definitely.
I feel like Dolly did that too, but I don't know, because Dolly's always been like totally open about the fact. I love celebrities like that because I feel like they make us feel more human.
Definitely. And I was going to say too, I know there's a lot of love and hate like with the Kardashians, but to be honest, I feel like they kind of shifted the whole wig thing and made it kind of more of an accessory and kind of made it more acceptable. And I feel like obviously they have a huge influence, right? I mean, we can't, nobody can deny that. And I feel like even Kylie recently, she's been posting herself wearing like a green wig and a pink wig. And I feel like it's just normalizing it. So to be honest, I really respect that. And I love that they are so open about not only wearing extensions. I feel like a lot of celebrities are like, yeah, I wear extensions, and they're not like ashamed of it. But to say like, I wear wigs, and they show themselves wearing wigs, I think that's really admirable.
So funny, the extensions thing. So we always talk about with skincare, it's like a woman will admit to, I get lasers done, like a celebrity. They'll be like, oh yeah, I've done lasers, which is really code for I've gotten all these injectables and these other things, but they will only admit to the lasers. And I feel like extensions, it's like, oh, I have some extensions in, when they have like 17 different custom wigs that they're using all the time. It's like a hint at the truth, you know?
Exactly. But I think honestly, I like when celebrities are open about it and they share that, because nobody's born with like this perfect hair, and like you can go blonde and brown and red and switch it up. And even if you don't have a medical reason of having hair loss, we all get stressed out and like our hair thins out, or maybe you're on like a certain medication and like the hormones are switching up and like your hair thins out, or maybe your hair just doesn't hold curl and you love curly hair. So there's all these other reasons to go to wigs, or that wigs could be the best thing for you. But I think people kind of close themselves off to it a little bit because of that taboo-ness around it.
Yeah. Thinking about all the wigs that you work with in your job, what are some of the most popular styles?
Well, so I have some new favorites. So I know we touched on it a little bit, but so the Wig Company does have their own brands. And what I love about that is because it's their own brand, they're really lenient with like returns and exchanges. Because sometimes when you are a distributor for another brand, you have to go by like their rules and their guidelines. So that's another thing with wigs that I hope changes in the future, but there are like restocking fees. So it's not easy to just...
Yeah, they have to clean it before they can put... Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, there's that whole repackaging, sanitizing. It's this whole process that people don't realize. But so mostly when you return a wig, there's fees or like restocking fees that it's hard for companies to get around them because they're going to have to kind of eat that cost. But with the Wig Company, like their exclusive brands are just a little bit more lenient because obviously it's their own brands, but they're also really affordable and they still have like all the bells and whistles and the quality. But so there's a wig that I think looks great on everybody. So it's one of the exclusive brands and it's called Summer Heat, but it's this really pretty kind of like lob.
Who gets to name the wigs, Chris? Come on now, I want that job.
Oh my God. So I actually get to help a little bit with naming the wigs,
I'm looking
which
up
is
Summer
really
Heat.
fun. So...
Oh, she's cute.
Super cute. And I feel like it's just such a classic cut, right?
Sorry, you should describe for people who are not Googling Summer Heat at this very moment.
Okay, so it's like the perfect lob. Like it has a little bit of a bang, but not a full bang. So kind of like a pretty layer. So it's going to frame your face really nicely. It's not too long. It's not too short. And so Summer Heat has that name because it is heat friendly. So it's kind of cool that they added that heat in there. So maybe you don't want it super straight like it comes out of the box. So you can add a little beach wave or you can like curl it. So you can do other things with it. But I just feel like it's the perfect cut, length, and it has like the lace front and the natural
It's
part.
really pretty. Okay, so summer heat's a favorite. By the way, this is available in like all the colors. So it's the style is like the style, right? And then you could get it in any color you want.
Any color. And that's another thing too, shopping online has its challenges, especially when it comes to color. So if you look at like the color availability, it's like these little squares that are so hard to like, well, what is that, right? So if you pull up a wig, let me think of one. Untamed. So Untamed is like this really cool, like think Carrie Bradshaw in like the 80s, 90s. It's like this curl. But so if you look through that page, you'll notice that like the models are shot in like the most popular red, the most popular blonde, the most popular brunette, and I even think there's a gray in there. So what we're trying to do is kind of shift to not just show you like a square of color, but to show you how the color looks on a person.
Yeah, that's so helpful.
It's super helpful. And then so if you click on some of those colors,
I'm looking at her. By the way, the model on Untamed, I like her in the dark brown. Personally.
Yes, so pretty. But that's just like just a fun style. So I think like as things advance, it's like showing the colors on the actual wig, showing it on an actual person. All of that is going to make shopping online so much easier and like less risky when it comes to like, oh, I got this color, but it looks nothing like the picture.
Yeah. How many wigs do you own?
I cannot even count them. Honestly, I have backstock at my mom's house. If she's listening, she's going to laugh. But I kind of take them all to her house that like I can't store myself. And there's boxes and boxes and boxes.
Wait, this is a good point. We should talk about like wig maintenance. Like if you are going to spend a couple $100s on a wig, even if it's like an entry-level wig, you want it to last. Do you tell people to keep them on a head when they're not wearing them?
Well, so that's the cool thing about synthetic is that like the curl and the style, it's set. Like even if it's heat friendly, like it's going to stay how it is. So you'd be surprised how many wigs, I'll just turn it inside out. And like a lot of us like on our team that when we have to travel a lot with like taking a lot of wigs, you just turn it inside out, put it in a Ziploc bag, kind of take all the air out and just throw it in your suitcase. You can literally pop it out, shake it, and it's like perfect.
But I wouldn't be able to straighten the curls from Untamed if I wanted to, right?
Well, so not on Untamed because it's not heat friendly, but like let's say for if it was heat friendly and you straighten it, it's going to stay straight until you recurl it. I always tell people it feels
even if it were to get wet, which it shouldn't. Right?
Yes. No, but isn't that crazy? It's kind of like magic. I always say it's like a secret magic trick because, okay, so let's say you take a straight heat friendly synthetic wig and you curl it and then you wash it. Like our mind wants to say, oh, it's going to go straight again. But it stays curled because the water doesn't change the texture. Only heat can change it.
Right. And we're so used to hydrogen bonds in hair and how they work, not...
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you curl your hair one time and it's just going to always be curled?
Well, it's nice. If you did like the perfect curl and you put in this wave you loved, you could just keep washing it and it'll stay.
Yep. And if like, let's say you want to go straight again, then you just flat iron it straight.
So where you putting them inside and out and storing them that way. Why a Ziploc bag? They don't like air?
No, I think it's fine. I just feel like it's very compact and really flat. If you're going to travel, it takes up zero space. We all have Ziploc bags. You can put the name on it. You can put the color. So I think Ziploc bags are just like something you already have.
Well, if they hold a style, like say there's like a cowlick or some part that's like not perfect, can you ever or should you ever put styling products in a wig?
Yes, you totally can. So I always tell people before you commit to like hairspray and gel and mousse to just mist it with water because a lot of times it just needs to be like there's this thing called cold set. So this can happen to synthetic where it's called cold set, but like let's say you put a synthetic wig in a box and it has like a crease.
That's exactly what I was picturing. Yes.
Okay, and it's really hot and it's been like, you know, in a UPS truck, you get it and it has like this bend, right? Kind of like a cowlick.
Or you packed it in your suitcase and now it's dented. Yes.
Right. So if you just mist it with water, shake it out and let it air dry, it usually just comes back out. It's kind of like refreshing it. So I always tell people, like, if you're going to change the part, if you're going to redirect the bangs, if you're going to do anything to it, just wet it down, like even just a spray bottle, mist it with water, comb it. Even using a blow dryer, like on a really low setting, can work with regular synthetic, but you can either just dry it out or let it air dry.
It's like wrinkle release in a fabric, like just like hang it in the shower or something.
Yes.
And that'll fix the cold set.
Yes, misting it with water is like game changer. Another game changer product I would say to kind of have in your wig kit if you're going to be wearing synthetic wigs is dry shampoo. Because dry shampoo, not only is it great like in between washes, or like let's say you wore your wig and you worked out or you got sweaty, or like you went to a restaurant, right? Or like to Korean
Oh, food
barbecue, which I
smells
love.
even.
Yes, food
Yeah.
smells. So a lot of times you can use dry shampoo to kind of freshen the scent. But dry shampoo really does matte any type of weird shine that synthetic has. So like anytime I sell like a clip and bang even, or just like a synthetic wig that's sometimes like the darker colors that are just a little bit more solid seem to look shinier. So I will say just a little dry shampoo, just mist it all
To blend it
over.
with your own hair better too.
Exactly. Because our own hair is not that shiny.
Right, right. Are we talking aerosol dry shampoo, powdered dry shampoo? What do you like?
I like aerosol.
Okay. Is there a particular one that's like in your kit always?
What's funny is that people ask me that all the time, and I've tried like all the best brands, and to me, any dry shampoo works the same. It's so crazy, but that's like the one.
This is the beauty
product.
of wigs. Like it doesn't even, like it's just going to work because the hair is the hair.
The hair is the hair, but honestly, even we have this beauty supply store here in Dallas, and so like the dry shampoo cans are like $1, and I've even used those, and to me, it's like just as good as
What
like
is
my
the good beauty
professional
store?
ones.
What's the good beauty supply store in Dallas?
So it's called Miss A, like MISSA, and they have makeup, they have random headbands, and so it's just like think of like a beauty dollar store, lashes, makeup. And so they have dry shampoo, and it's like a good travel size for like when I just want to throw it in my purse or like take it like on set or for like a shoot. So a lot of times I'll just grab those because I go through them a lot. I mean, if you want to, I do love IGK. Like they have that, what is it called? Airplane mode. I think it's called airplane mode. So I love that dry shampoo. But honestly, I feel like on the wigs, you don't have to spend a lot. It doesn't have to be like this really expensive product with dry shampoo. Now, I will say when it comes to shampoo and conditioner for synthetic hair, I am like a stickler with make sure it's synthetic formulated. So I'll touch on that a little bit. So if you're going to use, like a lot of times people will buy the wig and they might make a little investment on it, but then they're using their own like shampoo and conditioner. So what happens is with your own shampoo, like shampoo is made as like a cleansing agent to get oils off of our scalp pretty much. It's not so much to like
clean a synthetic fiber.
Right. So if you think about it, it's going to strip that fiber and eventually it gets really dry and it starts to get matted and frizzy. And some people are like, why does it look like it has split ends? And it's just because it's so dry.
So not even just sulfate free. You want a synthetic formulated for synthetic hair. What do you use?
Honestly, I'm not picky with the brand. We do have great products like on the wigcompany.com. We have all the care products you'll need, but there are times that maybe you didn't order it and you don't have time to order it. Like beauty supply stores like Sally's or even Amazon has synthetic shampoo. And a lot of times the conditioners for synthetic hair are just like a spray-on leave-in conditioner. You don't want to put something too heavy because it's not like our own hair that's like going to soak it in and it like
it's not
this
porous and it doesn't need to be super detangled like that.
Right. It's just conditioning it, and sometimes it adds like a little bit of that sheen back from just wear and tear. It kind of makes it to where it's not so tangly and things like that. But I will say too, with conditioner, something that people don't think about, you know how conditioners detangle our hair and like remove knots? So if you have a wig that's knotted, like as a part of its construction, you never want to put conditioner like close to the root because you're literally going to undoing those knots.
It'll get slippery and they'll start working there. Even if you don't put a comb in it, it'll start loosening up.
Yes. So you're going to experience a lot of shedding. So even with our own hair, I feel like all of us are kind of programmed to be like, okay, don't put conditioner at your root. It's going to make your hair feel greasy. But when you wear a wig, literally just the ends, like mid shaft to ends. Don't put it anywhere near the base. Even if it's not hand tied and it's sewn, you're going to loosen that hair. And so you're going to experience a lot of shedding and you just don't want that. So
this is all good advice. I know you give this advice on the website too. Wait, before we do our fat mascara, I also want to know about you personally. You're not wearing a wig right now, right?
I'm not wearing a wig right now. I have a big head. So
What are you talking about?
I have a big head in terms of wigs. Okay, so wigs come in sizes. So that's another
Yeah.
thing. I'll touch on it really briefly, and if anybody has a question, of course, reach out. So at thewigcompany.com, we have this program called Ask Christina. So I'm Christina, right? So I'm always there if you have a question. Okay, so reach out to us on the website. There's an email address, askchristina@thewigcompany.com, or you can message me on Instagram, but I'm always there. So if you're hearing this and you think of a question I didn't touch on or answer, just ask Christina. But if you need to measure your head, like most wigs come in an average cap size. So if you take the circumference of your head, it's usually around like 21.5 to 22 inches. And I'm kind of like with my hair and my head, I'm more of a large cap size. So I do love wearing wigs, and you'll see me, like I go live and I show, like a lot of times I put them on my mom. She looks great in all of the wigs, but she has like the perfect size head. So for me, if I put on a wig, I'm going to make it look a little shorter because my head is like going to bring it up. So I'm going to make it look a little shorter. I'm not going to give it like its true representation. So a lot of times
you feel like they don't read on you the way most people will look in that wig. That's good to know.
Yeah, because like my hair is in the cap and then my head is bigger. So it's like the wig's not going to fit me
It's deceiving. I get that. I wasn't judging you for not wearing a wig. I was just going to ask you what was in your hair right now because you have lovely hair. But it's good to know that's why we might not always see you in a wig.
Yes, but you will see me for sure. You will see me in wigs. We have this new wig that's like really pretty in pink. And so I can't wait to wear it. I just got it the other day. But I love having fun with it. It's just, for me, it's not like the most comfortable and realistic to wear them all the time, but it is fun to experiment with it because I can have like short hair one day, brown hair one day, red hair, pink hair. I love extensions and hair pieces. I think even if you have long, thick hair, sometimes your ponytail just doesn't do what it needs to do. So even just like that wraparound pony I talked about, popping that in, even if your hair is longer, like nobody's going to know it's like a hair piece, but it's going to make your ponytail look really good. So there's so many pieces, plus bangs. Like I've cut my bangs recently, but they're growing out. They're pretty long now. But to like not have to cut your bangs and just clip them in, like that's so cool.
Yeah, that's even like the beginner way in. If you're like wig curious, but you're just going to let me try bangs first, or I'll try a ponytail. And then I'm sure there's people you've seen are now like, oh my God, this is fun. I want more.
It's kind of a growing category, but there's what's called toppers. So it's kind of like, think of extensions, but they sit on the top of your head. And it's like super cool because even if like, let's say you want to cover up your roots, like my roots are getting long now. So I can pop in a topper and it like covers my roots, or maybe it adds bangs, or maybe it adds highlights, or maybe if you're like with alopecia, sometimes it's just on the top, like a patch. Or your hair is just thinning. And a lot of times women resort to extensions. So you get the fullness here, but then what about here? So
oh my God, a topper actually makes more sense if you have thin hair than an extension would.
And even if like, let's say you're listening to this and you're kind of like, my hair's thin, I'm so unhappy with it, but I don't think I could wear a full wig, or I wouldn't feel like me, try a topper, even like a couple of extensions with a topper. And if you have some of your own hair to incorporate into it, especially like along the hairline, then do a topper. And it's almost like getting the effect of a wig without wearing a full wig.
Oh, that's a good tip too. Good to know. Okay, Fat Mascara 5, before I let you go. You know you're going to get so many emails after this because there were so many. I have so many more questions, but I feel like it was a good introduction for people. So just so we can know a little bit more about you before we let you go, I got to ask you these questions. A little speed round. What was the first beauty product you remember really loving?
Mascara.
Which one? Christine, you can't just say mascara.
Mascara. I love Maybelline. It's so, you know what I will say, that obviously I'm a little bougie when it comes to like makeup and skincare. I think all of us have that little side of us. But you know what, with mascara, I've tried Chanel, Dior, like it doesn't matter what they cost. I always go back to Maybelline.
Is it Great Lash? I mean, they have so many now. Like what, or I guess your first one.
I feel like the first one was Great Lash, probably.
Yeah.
If I had to say, I mean, I was so little.
Which one are you liking from Maybelline now?
There's one called Clean. I think it's just called Clean. And I'm like, my eyes are really sensitive. So I love that one. It's like in a green bottle.
That's good. All right. What famous person has the best wigs in your opinion? Not that makes them, though that's possible too, but just like when you see them on a red carpet, you're like, damn, who's making those wigs?
I would say probably Rihanna or Beyonce.
And what famous person would you love to like meet and hang out with or think you'd be best friends with?
Oh, that's such a hard one. I feel like I would have to say either Margot Robbie, because I'm obsessed with the Barbie movie, or like Jenna Ortega. She seems really cool.
Oh, good ones. I agree with both of those. What's your favorite snack?
Diet Coke.
Because it is Fat Mascara and Jess and I are both Diet Coke fans, I will allow that. But normally, that does not count as a snack in our worlds. But I'll allow
Another snack is like any type of Takis or like hot Cheetos.
Okay. Oh my God, the Taki selection at my bodega is, how many varieties are there now? I was just like, when did there get to be so many Takis?
There's so many. Honestly, I just like the original.
Okay, the original Taki and a Diet Coke?
Yes.
Perfect snack right there.
When we're done, let's go have some.
Yeah. Okay, last question. It's like, sometimes I say 11 a.m. I'm going to change it up to 3 p.m. It's 3 p.m. on your day off. What would you most likely be doing?
Shopping.
Online or in physical stores?
Probably physical because...
Like the Galleria? Is that the Dallas Mall?
Well, so we have North Park, which is my favorite mall. And then Galleria is fun, but I would do North Park. So I'm probably at North Park, maybe at Sephora. I love Zara. They're going to open up a Glossier like any time now. So I'd probably be there.
Oh, is it going to be at North Park?
North Park Mall.
They're expanding. Yeah. Okay, so you'll be shopping for beauty and fashion. I love that. That means you're in the right line of work, I think.
Definitely. I mean, I'm an accessories girl. So I feel like wigs and hair is like the main accessory we all have.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for teaching us about this and also sharing your story and what you do. Thanks for coming on Fat Mascara.
Oh my God, thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed the show. It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Razor One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.